passionate about Cleveland sports.
He's going in, touchdown!
Browns, Indians, Cavs, the Big Ten, and more.
Cleveland is a city of champions once again!
Andy and Jarid, Cleveland and beyond.
A swing and a drive! To deep right!
Here are your hosts, Andy Billman and Jarid Watson.
And we're live. Hello and welcome. Andy and Jarid, Cleveland and beyond. He's Andy Billman. I'm Jarid Watson. And this podcast is brought to you by Waiting for Next Year. Check them out, original Cleveland sports reporting at waitingfornextyear.com. Well, we didn't go live like we were supposed to a few days ago, but here we are now. It's been a hectic weekend. I'm kind of glad that we waited here until at time of recording and going live Monday night to talk about this whole thing that went down on Thursday night. But the Browns are coming off a 21-7 victory over the Steelers. Many were leaving that game saying it felt like a loss. I've still got some mixed emotions. Everyone's talking about the last few seconds of the game, so let's not waste any time tonight with a long intro. Andy, let's just jump right in.
Cleveland Browns.
The incident in hand, for case for people who've been sleeping under a rock, Myles Garrett ripped off the helmet of Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback Mason Rudolph. Rudolph did try to do it to him first. He was the instigator in the incident. We'll probably get into that here in a second. Then Garrett was taken down by lineman David Castro and Maurice Pouncey. Pouncey was served with a 30-game suspension. Garrett then, we all saw it after that. Garrett, he basically lost his cool. That's even being understated. And tried to slam his helmet into Mason Rudolph. And then later, Ogunjobi pushed Randolph. That was not a smart move at all. Ogunjobi was suspended for a game, and Myles Garrett suspended for the rest of the season indefinitely. Ogunjobi went up today against the, I don't know what you would call, I forget the right term, but he went to go today and again the NFL, see if he can get it reduced. Pouncey's doing the same, and I think Garrett goes on Wednesday. Anyways, all that aside, look, what Myles Garrett did was awful. Like everyone says, inexcusable. I'm on this side of the fence with Mason Rudolph. He did start it, but I really don't care about Mason Rudolph. I'm a Browns fan, so I don't really care if he got suspended or not. I know there are people who do get into that stuff. I actually come out in that I know what he did and he started it, but what Garrett did was so far wrong and just so inexcusable that you can't even get into what Mason Rudolph did, in my opinion. Ogunjobi also not a big fan of what he did either. I don't understand why at that point. I know like if he's trying to get Myles Garrett to calm down or if he's in the pile, I'd understand. But him pushing Rudolph, I didn't think was cool at all either. I just think this is the time of the season. Like we've used this term a lot on this show a couple times, and I know on other podcasts and other radio stations and people throughout. It's now time to see what the Browns are made of, right? After this game, it did feel like a loss. I am at a weird point as a Browns fan. I am having a hard time cheering for this team right now. I will root for the Browns. I always do. But I really felt like at the end of the game, I was like, I don't know if I'm really liking where the season's going. I'm not enjoying this. I'm not enjoying this victory. And I'm actually at a point now where as a Browns fan where I'm having a hard time really getting and cheering hard for this team. I'm rooting for the Browns every day. I will be cheering hard for them. But honestly, from afar, it's getting hard to – I like individuals and I like certain things that are going on. But as a team, this is the first Browns team I've ever had as a fan experiencing where I'm like, I love the Browns and I'm there through and through. But if I'm being truthful, this is getting hard on Sundays for the first time for me. I'm not enjoying what happened on Thursday. And it's just taking some of it away from me as a fan. All that to be said, studying sports forever, the Browns have a really great opportunity here to see what they're made of. Because they are, for the first time, are going to be stripped from their best. You could argue Garrett. I don't, but some believe Garrett's the best player on the team. He's not coming back this year. We'll see if he gets the indefinite suspension relieved. And we'll have to see where this team is gone. Because I think during this game, as I was texting with Jared, I thought this game was actually getting – I actually thought at times the Steelers were doing the right thing by passing the ball deep, trying to get PIs, because the Browns had lost their cool in the third quarter and had rolled in the fourth quarter. And, in fact, Joe Schobert's interception was needed because I don't think if he makes that play, I think that game gets dangerously close to the Browns losing. They were not doing anything on offense. I think the one thing that's gotten overblown in this week, I thought Baker played okay. I don't think he played great. And I thought Freddie Kitchens had a really poor game again. I thought he had a hard time overpassing the first half, then running the ball 4 consecutive plays start the third quarter. Freddie has really lost this. So all that to be said, I thought Baker after the game handled the whole post game well. I thought his press, I tweeted it. I thought he was great with Aaron Andrews. I thought he handled that with really, really great. And for the first time, I thought Freddie had a good press conference after the game. I thought he really did a nice job saying it's inexcusable. We have to see where this team goes from here. And I thought for the first time, Freddie looked like a coach who was understanding the surroundings of what's going on around him. Now, I don't know what that means for the rest of the year, but I do like how that game ended from a press conference standpoint. And obviously, Myles has been very regretful, as he should be. And we'll have to see what happens to him next year. I don't think you're going to see him again this year.
Well, so currently, to get us up to date in regard to how the suspension is playing out, obviously the NFL has suspended Myles Garrett indefinitely. And the issue with that now, and with the upcoming challenge to that, Myles is going to go and be there in person, which is not something that normally happens, I guess. And on top of that, the argument is, according to the Players Association, they're saying that you cannot have an on-field incident be left as an indefinite suspension, that goes against the player agreement. So that will be the argument. They're going to look for a solid answer to that. Will it be anything less than this season? I can't see that changing. Now, I will say this, and this is specifically for past precedents reasons, that when we've seen actions like this from players on the field, you've seen maybe between a 2 and 4 game suspension. So the NFL is really, and I got to tell you, I'm wondering if the NFL would have waited until tonight, as opposed to reacting as soon as they did, if the suspension would have possibly been less than what they left it at. I understand why the NFL did what they did. We all know that the NFL will take care of the shield above anything else. And the NFL was reacting to the reaction that they saw on social media and across the country, because let's face it, this is a Thursday night game. All eyes were on the Cleveland Browns. And at the end of that game, holy shit, man. I didn't even catch it when it all went down at first, because I was busy being excited that the Browns were going to win the game. And when I saw the scuffle at first, I just thought there was a scuffle. And then I started to see the replay, and then I saw that when I recognized what happened with Myles swinging his helmet, I knew that things were completely out of hand. Myles, I will say this in regard to behavior and reacting. I think that, damn it, I mean, you just wish you can go back in time and have him drop that helmet. I mean, wouldn't we all be sitting here today so much happier? And I say this as nicely as I can. If Myles would have just punched him in the nose, man, if he would have just punched him in the nose, this would be a completely different story. And it just didn't work out that way. And Myles went over the top with the helmet. Thank God it wasn't with the crown of the helmet, because he didn't act with Mason. Now, regarding the suspensions themselves and going beyond what has been done with Myles in regard to this indefinite suspension, Larry Ogunjobi deserved his suspension. That was unbelievably stupid to shove Mason from behind. It just, God bless, it's just a bad look, man. And you're off to the side of the big scrum and the scuffle going on afterwards. So it's very painfully obvious to everyone when they see it. It's like, what are you doing? As for Pouncey, yeah, between him and Mason after the game and what they're talking about, you know what? Here's the deal. Mason Rudolph is a punk. He's an absolute punk, and it's separate from everything else. There's no getting around that in my book. He takes zero responsibility for any of his actions in regard to the situation. Not in, you can look at the nuance of this, and you can say that equally Mason Rudolph, you can say that, Myles should be suspended for as long as he's going to be suspended for, and what he did was wrong. And also, Mason Rudolph is a complete idiot and moron for trying to yank off the helmet of Myles Garrett, for doing whatever else he did, kicking him in the nuts. Any man in this planet knows that feeling and knows flat out that you get kicked in the junk, you might get a helmet hit across your head. I'm not condoning it. I am just saying that in the moment of blackout anger that probably ensued for Myles, because we all know that Pouncey said he blacked out during it. that you just don't know what and what is going to happen. Now, I want to say this about the pundits that just rushed to social media following this incident to condemn Myles Garrett. Condemn his action all you want, but for the love of God, we're talking about hyperbole before we started here. Do we have to over exaggerate everything, cancel culture, everything? I mean, the moment that you do that is the moment that you are going to end up looking like an ass yourself, and because it's inevitable that some of us are going to end up in a situation where, unfortunately, we're going to kind of lose our cool. And let's hope to God that those animalistic instincts that are in all of us, whether you want to believe it or not. I study this shit. I read books on this shit. This is what I go to school for. We're all vulnerable to a moment like this, whether you want to admit it or not. And the ones who say that they would never do it are likely the ones who are probably higher at risk for actually doing it, because those are reactions. They are fight or flight actions. They are fear. They are anger, and they are, like I said, blackout anger in those moments. Again, suspend Myles. Moment for him to completely recorrect everything, because I think the further issue when we discuss the Browns, Andy, and the going forward and this opportunity that we're talking about is everything that we have been pissed off about with all the chirping, all the talking, all the disorganization on the field, the lapses in decision making, whether it be the pre-snap penalties and every other disciplinary issue that this Browns team has had to this point in the season. This is where we are. This is wake up call central right now, and it's all on Freddie.
Yeah,
it's all on Freddie.
A lot of it is,
and that is where we are now. And I'll even say this: I know there have been certain players, and I'm going to say one of them, Mac Wilson, who has remained active on Twitter, and I know that he has had the best intentions of trying to remain positive through his tweets and the things that he's saying. But I will say this: shut up, Mac. Shut up.
Here's the thing.
Right now is just not the time, Andy. These guys have got to, and I know that Freddie says it all the time, that they got to come together and get even tighter in moments like these. But how did we get to this moment is my problem.
It was all building. The third quarter really showed it, because the Browns really lost their cool in the third quarter. They had won the Pittsburgh drive where they scored. It was basically all penalties by the Browns, allowing them to go down the field.
Oh, yeah.
Myles Garrett, I think if he's suspended for the rest of the year, I think if he comes back in week 1, I actually think appropriate what happened with the suspension. He has to sit out. He comes back next year and life moves on. Meaning, like, that's a severe punishment. That is, Alvin Haynesworth got 5 games, so Garrett's getting an extra game plus the playoffs if the Browns ever get that far. And then playing next year, look, that's appropriate punishment. To me, it's over. Meaning, like, he's been punished, everything moves on, life moves on. I do agree with. Here's the thing about Mason. Here's the thing about Mason Rudolph. Mason Rudolph also needs to apologize. He never will. That might be a Steelers-Browns thing. The only thing I'm going to give this is, if I were sitting on the other side, we've all been on both sides here, offenses of fans, where we can all be whatever. Mason Rudolph needs to apologize too. Do I think Myles Garrett needs to reach out to Mason Rudolph or anything like that? I don't know. I don't know how that works, whatever. People can argue that too. But Mason Rudolph should apologize, in my opinion. Does he have to? No. He was heated after the game. He definitely had a hot-headed moment too on the field. And I'll leave it at that for Mason Rudolph. Pouncey, I totally get Pouncey's thing. I agree with what Richardson said today. Pouncey was protecting his quarterback. That is what it is. The only one to me is Ogunjobi. I just wish Ogunjobi would not have done that. That play was long gone. Everything was way over. For him to push at that point.
Off the top rope out of nowhere. What are you doing?
Dude,
what are you doing?
Don't do that. Here's the whole thing about your Freddie comment. I agree. Freddie, a lot of it's on Freddie. I will say, I think part of this is on John Dorsey. I think part of this is on this team as a whole. Freddie is the ringleader, and Freddie deserves much of the pressure. this is an interesting moment for Freddie Kitchens because he was on his way out. Okay. He beats the Steelers. You get a chance here to turn the season around and really make something of it. He could actually save his job, Jared, if he starts winning more games, gets his team in order, and gets his act cleaned up. And maybe he had an awakening moment here on Thursday night. Now, I know I just gave you the biggest positivity off of biggest negative you could have after a win. But I'm telling you, Freddie Kitchens to me actually looked like a guy who was really aware for the first time on Thursday night. Holy shit, this is kind of out of control. And I know that, and I need to make steps to correct this. Now, time will tell if he does it, but at least it was a start on Thursday night, I thought, from his press conference at least.
Not only, and just to add to that, not only has Freddie Kitchens become the first head coach in this expansion era Browns team to defeat both the Ravens and the Steelers in the same season, but he has the real potential to go, dare I say, 6-2 in the division this year. And I don't know how you ever would get rid of that. I mean, and I'm just saying he could go 8-8. That's still in play. But I just want to be fair here and say 6-2, the Browns finish 8-8. Maybe that's where this is this year. I don't know what you would do next year in regard to him losing his job. We know that Todd Haley has actually spoken up and said this is all on Freddie Kitchens. I don't know what the rest of the team is thinking in regard to Freddie. I can tell you that we got to this place because of Freddie, I think, overall, in regard to him handling this team and the discipline. But where it goes from here, this is really, well, I mean, we're gonna have to see this Miami game. I've really been hesitant to make any decisions or come to any conclusions in regard to what to expect, because I honest to God don't know. Not only because of what this defense is now has, I mean, Coach Wilks has got to completely transform the way that this defense is going to play schematically. You're going to have a lot more pressure on linebackers that you didn't expect to have through this season because you thought you were going to have a pass rush.
And you trade away Avery, and you got you're going to got Burnett out for the year. Murray's out. Looks like maybe most of the year of all the year. So I agree with you. And again, this team's had a hard time making adjustments. This is a big moment here for Freddie Kitchens, though. He has to be the one to tell Wilks, hey, you got to make adjustments for your defense. I'm not telling you have to do everything I'm calling the defense, but you need to make adjustments here. And Freddie needs to make adjustments to himself and this team. If this crap continues, what we saw on third, and I think people have really glossed over this game not accurately. This was 14-7 until Joe Schobert intercepted the ball late in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it should have been 28-0, 28-7 at that point. We had talked.
Going fluently in this game. Okay.
No.
So I heard two people, boy, Baker had a very good game. Well, did he have a very good game? I thought he played okay. I didn't really see the Browns have a smooth game on Thursday night. I thought it was
17 for 30. It was a rough 17 for 32.
Yeah, I just didn't think of play. I just think people have been glossing over this and making this more into a story of like, let's get into the actual game. The Browns had a hard time again. They were past fucking happy in the first half.
Well, and it wasn't even necessarily the only reason that they even that out towards the end of the game is because they finally were just trying to run the ball to kill clock. But at the same time, Andy, didn't it feel to you, and this is a generalization, didn't it feel to you like they were running when they should have been passing and passing when they should have been running?
Yeah,
like it was opposite day with that's the thing that stood out to me in this game is that the choices and the timing of the play calls was poor. The play calls themselves weren't poor. It was the when they were doing it. And it really felt like it was flipped. Freddie, why are you passing here? You should be running here. Freddie, why are you running here? You should be passing here. That seemed to be a real big issue.
Hey, no. It even goes beyond. You're right. I'm going to go beyond that.
Yeah.
You want to call 5 straight passing plays? And then on the first drive in the third quarter, Chubb, punt. Hey, dude, you got to mix it up. Like, you got to be more creative. It's almost like he said, oh, shit, we're 70-30 on passing. I got to run Chubb.
Right. Oh, okay, they wanted us to run. Oh, well, we did, and now it didn't work. So there you go. Right. That's what that felt like.
The stubbornness in this team.
Especially because I had gone live and made a video saying you need to run the ball.
Right. This team of not making adjustments and being stubborn needs to go away. And here's the other big thing I'm going to – this team is going to need to be led by its offense now, because you're going to give some back. Now, the Dolphins are exception, but you're going to give some back. That Pittsburgh game, well, it's going to be loaded with emotion. And those games coming up, like, you're going to have some things come up where it's like, hey, you are going to have your offense lead. You're going to need to see the dynamic duo of Hunt and Chubb doing big things. You're going to need to mix up your play calls. This what happened Thursday night, the Browns got away with because their defense played really well. But you're going to take a step back in some of these games. You're going to need your offense to play well. Okay, Todd Haley. I thought Haley was accurate. Here's his quote. The Browns won the game, but it's kind of what's been biting him in the backside throughout this year. And throughout the last few years is just a lack of self-control and self-discipline. Haley told the Akron Beacon Journal. His second quote. This comes back to coaching. This falls squarely on the head coach, because the head coach talks to every assistant, who talks to their player groups. There's an old saying in coaching: you're either coaching or you're allowing it to happen. I agree. I actually agree completely with Todd Haley.
Is Todd Haley vying for this head coaching job for next year?
A different discussion. And by the way, Todd Haley last year did not have the smoothest of runs either. So we're not going to relive Todd Haley. You can listen to prior podcasts and we'll relive Todd Haley. But here's what I'll say. I think Todd actually, in a weird way, Jared, was giving a wake-up friendly call to Freddie, saying, it is on you, dude. This is you. Yeah. A lot of this is on you. And I'll be honest with you, Jared, Dorsey needs to step in as the GM. Hopefully he did on Friday and be like, hey, we need to wake up. Maybe we're waking a sleeping giant, and me chewing gum too hard and all this other crap, and Freddie catching balls in the first game against the Titans before the game and smiling and having a good time. All that shit. It all perceives throughout the year. And I liked it. I fed into it too. And I love those guys. I'm a big fan of Dorsey. And actually, as a person, I like Freddie Kitchens a lot. All that to be said, this has gotten out of it. Was, again, on Thursday, you could feel it. The Steelers, look, Mason Rudolph stinks, okay? He's not a good quarterback. The Browns got away with it. And by the way, they knocked out, by the way, we should mention too, what Randall did was ejectable, and he got ejected. And they knocked out another kid too in that game. And it
was rough to watch. I can't say it was targeting. I can't say that they were looking to do it, but it was really unfortunate. It really adds to the feel ickiness after
and to all Steelers fans out there, let's go back to that McCoy game on Thursday night, okay? and Cribbs got knocked out too. And I think I can't remember if it was that game or similar. I always get those things mixed up. But Cribbs and McCoy. So we've had this as Browns fans. Well, you know,
I don't want to hear the keep it classy Cleveland shit.
Oh, I know
from
that's
Pittsburgh fans, because you know what? They're a bunch of whining sacks of crap that do nothing but piss and moan. And I watch it all the time. Even when they're having a decent season, if something doesn't, they piss and moan. Oh, it's awful.
I'm not condoning what the Browns did, but Steelers fans have no right to complain. Okay.
Again, these can exist in the same realm.
Yeah, exactly. That's
they're not mutually exclusive.
Yeah, you know where I'm going. Like, 'cause I saw some Steeler fan wear something like, "Do you want to look back at the Colt McCoy hit? I thought he was dead. Do you want to go back to Josh Cribbs? Josh Cribbs' career was never the same after that hit. Okay. I mean, it's enough, Steeler fans. Not saying that I didn't want eye for an eye. I'm not that.
Not condoning. No. But let's be a little bit retrospective. Let's think about some things before we just act. Yeah, I know. It's insane.
It's insane. Okay, so I think we hammered Freddie pretty good. Now, I do want to, again, I thought his press conference after the game was good. I thought Baker's interview with Aaron Andrews on the field was great. That is a hard moment. I thought he hit it out of the park. And for people who don't understand, there are some times where you're on the stage, or you're in a boardroom, or you're in your job, or you're in your life as a parent, where you have to just say what's really happening. And I thought Baker at that moment said, hey, look, let's cut the shit. Here's what happened. It didn't go well. It was awful, and he knows better. And you know what? That's what needed to be said in that moment. It doesn't make him a bad teammate. It doesn't make him anti-Myles Garrett. It just says the truth in that moment. So I want to applaud Baker for that, and that is really showing a true leadership. Now, something that I have not been heard talked about enough, but I want to get into real quickly before we get into more of what happened. Myles Garrett is actually, we've talked about him on and off in our podcast throughout. There's been other people throughout. I'm really interested, Jared, to hear your opinion on this. He's not going to play again this year. It's going to be interesting to see how he comes back next year from this, because he is going to have these labels: dirty player. He's going to have the label as, you know what, if you tick him off, he's going to do something stupid and get a penalty. He's going to be known as the guy's like, hey, like he says he wants to be the NFL defensive MVP, but look how he acts. All those things. And by the way, whether we like it or not, they're all pretty fair because he did it. All that should happen on Thursday.
He's going to have to put on blinders.
He's going to have to really
And he's
work
going to have
hard.
to have some really thick skin.
Yeah, he is.
And I mean, these are just, and he can. Who was I talking to the other day? I can't remember. Was it you? I don't remember whether we talked about it in the show. And this was before that incident, if I'm not mistaken. But I thought to myself, and I think I said it out loud to someone. I said, how different would some of the decision making and decisions of some of these guys in the NFL, knowing full well what they train to do, how hard they work, and the physicality of the game, and the anger that the channeled anger into this purposeful, act to try to win a football game. I said, how different do you think it would be if these guys had therapists made available to them on these teams, and how much that might help to prevent issues. And ironically, here we are with this issue right here. Because in my opinion, the most important thing that Myles is going to have to do is make the conscious decision and effort on his part to seek out on his own a therapist. And I don't mean that in a way that he's a broken person, because in my opinion, every single person who has it made available to them should get their own counseling and therapy from time to time. You can be as prideful as you want. You can think you've got all your shit together. But that just ain't the case, because we're not machines, and we try to treat ourselves like we're machines all the time. And we want to think that Myles Garrett is this machine, and he's not. He's a giant human being. And for all intents and purposes, outside of the football realm, he's got a giant heart. Somebody saw him tonight, actually, as we're broadcasting this, but 2 hours earlier, he's out on like Euclid or something, talking to a homeless guy, having a conversation, and looked like he didn't even want to go anywhere. He just wanted to sit and talk to the guy. That's what Myles Garrett is doing this evening right now as we speak. Myles is not a bad dude. Myles really needs to find out how he can take control of his emotions and channel them and prevent something like this to building to this point ever again. Because a lot of this, maybe it didn't start with just Mason Rudolph. Screw his last name. Fuck that guy anyway. This could have started with the fact that he was frustrated with himself because of all the pre-snap penalties. This could have started because it could have grown out of things like feeling like his double coverage is getting held every time. He's getting hands to the face that aren't called on a regular basis. What I'm saying is this frustration and no outlet and all these things, and it piles up, and then you get this punk quarterback that you can't stand. He tries to rip your helmet off, and who the hell does he think he is? This doesn't just happen out of nowhere, Andy. This built to this point for that kid.
Oh, no,
and I hope that with time and with talk and reflection and honest to God therapy, that he can come back a better player than he left. Period.
I think that's true. I'm glad to hear about the homeless thing. I think Myles Garrett has a lot of work to do. I don't think this is going to be easy. I think it's going to take a lot of more patience than what people believe. I don't disagree with anything you're saying. Myles, though, needs to do better at those things, though. And now he knows that. And by the way, he's got plenty of time to think about it. Because, Jared, you can't act that way. And again, this team, and some of this goes on Freddie too. But Freddie wasn't the guy who picked up the helmet and tried to swing him Mason Rudolph's head. That's on Myles Garrett.
Right.
And I think Myles Garrett's going to have to realize it is going to be a hard road back. You're not saying you can't do it. I think he will do it. And by the way, I think he'll be fine. Yeah. But he needs to I don't think that's the only thing I haven't seen sink in yet. And that's not surprising. Because you're going to see T-shirts. You've already seen SNL skit. You're going to see a lot of things come out on him that's going to be negative on him. And I feel bad for him. As I've been told by people who know his agent, by people who know him personally, as I reached out to some people, he is as good a dude as you're making him out to be, as everybody's making him out to be. He's a really good guy. He had a really bad moment. And again,
he's probably pretty shook right now personally too. You know, again, when we talk about this, not being a robot, I'm tired of blue collar Northeast Ohioans walking around saying things like, what does he have to worry about? He's got all the money in the world. And I mean that in general regarding all these situations. Look, the bottom line is he's still a human being. He's still a person. Money doesn't make any of this disappear. He probably feels like shit. He probably feels like he completely let down his team. He probably feels like he can't even trust himself at this point. And that's really scary stuff. That's another thing that should be addressed. I hope to God there are people that are surrounding him right now. But I mean that in a way so that he doesn't get into a hole, because when you're left alone with your thoughts after something like this, bad things can happen.
But by the way, Jared, I think that's good if he did feel those emotions. He needs to feel those emotions. Because right now...
Yeah, but you can't ruminate is all I'm saying. You can't sit there.
But Jared, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is he needs to feel that way. He was out of control. It was really bad. You could have, if Mason Rudolph would have gotten knocked out, holy cow. I mean, we would have been having a much awful. And by the way, he was close to doing it. He needs to realize that's how he had a life-changing career moment in the worst way. Yeah. He now needs to rebuild his life. Again, it's going to be hard. I agree with all you. I'm a big believer in therapy. I'm a big believer in mental health. You know, people talk about exercising. You know, you need to exercise your mentality too. You need to not just brush your teeth to keep your teeth clean. Yes, you do. You also need to do that for your mental health. It's important to do that. He's going to need to use those tools.
Ask Kevin Love.
He needs to do that in his ways. As I'm going to tell you right now, Myles Garrett, I think it's going to be harder than what people think. I'm interested to see how he comes back on the field, and I'm looking forward to that next year. Again, what he did was bad. I thought it was an appropriate thing, what happened to him. He needs to be suspended for the rest of the year. I think it's actually going to be better for him. And if now going to the team, this is a great moment for this team. He's talked about this all fucking year. Well, now you got adversity and you can really use it for your tool. And that tool being Freddie Kitchens in his career. Because if he can ever turn this ship around, and again, it is a long shot. But okay, we'll be fair. You're playing 2 games against a winless team. A team that the Dolphins aren't good. And then you have 3 games that are very 50-50 at best. They're going to be tough. The Ravens games are going to be really hard. This Pittsburgh game is going to be really hard. And at Arizona's not easy. But okay, if you ever want to get hot and you ever want to really shut people up and really show things off, hey, get hot. Go on and roll. And by the way, you're getting a gift by playing the Dolphins first. You need that game to get this thing settled down, brother. To get this thing calm down, because what you're going to face next week, holy shit, that is the game. You know, we've always said, what is that? Whatever the terms people want to use this year, this is the game you can't look back. This is the game that's going to turn around. This is going to define the season. That Pittsburgh game, I actually think, will define a lot of the rest of the season, because I think the Dolphins aren't really good, and we'll get to them in a second, but that Pittsburgh game is going to be hostile. It is going to, you don't talk about, and by the way, Pittsburgh fans have all the right to be. They're going to be chanting. They're going to be in the player's face. They're going to be doing things throughout the game. They're going to test the mettle of this team. And it'll be interesting to see how they react. The Dolphins game, forget it. The Browns lose against the Dolphins. We got bigger problems than what we realize here. But the Steeler game is the game at Pitt. Let's see how this team, because they're going to face everything and more of what we know we would do if that happened against Pittsburgh and we were the other end. We know what we'd be doing if they were coming to the Browns, and we as fans would be doing, giving them shit throughout the whole game, yelling and God knows whatever else we'd be doing. So it's a pressure cooker in 2 weeks, and it's a quick turnaround. So this story's not going anywhere. It's gonna live because of the quick turnaround.
Larry Ogunjobi gets a nice extra week to get fresh legs. What's the rest of that defensive line going to look like?
Well, now you obviously got the kid out of Miami, Chad. I forget his last name. I think it's Thomas.
Chad Thomas.
And then you get the other guy who lost his poor girlfriend in that accident, who's been playing better lately. His name escapes me at the moment. And then you're going to really rely on Richardson, and you're going to really rely on guys who are going to come off. Again, I have people have known this for me. And by the way, I don't fucking care the Browns got a third-round pick for Duke Johnson. Who fucking cares?
That was such a non-story to me. I didn't
care. I'm tired of this bullshit.
A lot of people wanted to talk about it. I didn't think.
Who cares? Who cares? So now you traded Avery. And by the way, you could use Avery right now. And this is the fucking shit.
You can't get mad though. Nobody knew that this. I mean,
oh, Jared, no, I don't agree. You're wrong, and everybody else is wrong. Agrees with this. This is why you don't. We're here to win this year. We need Avery right now to come off and play well. You don't want Avery playing next week. You want your 4th round draft pick? Good, you have him. You tell him, you know what? When we do this podcast in April, I'll bring this up. Like, you know what? Here's our 4th round pick. God, I'm so glad we don't have Avery for these last 6 games.
I'll be honest. Andy, I didn't understand why none of us understand why they even made the move. Nobody gets it. Nobody knows why he wasn't playing. Nobody understands why they didn't play. Nobody gets it.
Browns are here to win this year.
Again, here's another one. Where's Higgins?
Oh, but
Higgins?
Okay. Let's get to Higgins. I heard through KNR and I've heard through others, he is in some sort of doghouse. Something happened, and he is not going to be back next year. And Hodge is playing over him because of that. And the day, you know what? We're going to have to start going down
this road
mentally.
Something too, yeah.
Yeah, we're going to have to go down this road mentally. There was something reported in the Athletic in the Seattle game that he didn't come in the game. The days of Higgins playing, you know what? We should enjoy that touchdown he caught against the Bills, because that's might be his last big play he makes in Cleveland. Because Hodge was playing in big spots, and I'm not going to pick on a guy, but Hodge is decent. He's not Higgins. Higgins is good. He's not great. He's good. Hodge he's not Ratley, but he's decent. He's okay. Like, I'm not seeing things that go, wow, woo, look at Hodge run down the field. I mean, he's okay.
Yeah.
He's okay. He's in that group of like Harris. Like, these guys are all okay. But again, the days of Higgins, I would play Higgins. You would play Higgins. But we're not behind closed doors. I'm sure this will be stories that will come out after the year. But the days of Higgins being around this team are done. We didn't get a chance to talk about it on Facebook because I can't fucking work Facebook. Callaway's also gone. All right, so let's talk about Callaway too. You know, that's another fizzle moment for this club. It's because we drafted, you talk about a team putting a lot of effort into improving a young guy's career and putting him into big spots, and Jared, all that got wiped away. And by the way, he had to go. He got suspended again for drugs. He had to go. I'm not disagreeing with it. But, you know, everything's been on Freddie. I'm actually again going to turn and I love Dorsey. And Dorsey, nothing should happen to him. But Dorsey's had a kind of a rough run at times. I mean, Callaway didn't work out. He drafted Avery, he ships Avery out. He hasn't developed Higgins. You're now developing a guy named Hodge. You know, where are these players? Like, okay, Wilson's been good to okay. He's had a okay to good year so far. Has anybody really been? I'll tell you, Greedy Williams, he's a rookie, so you got to give him time. But, boy, he has struggled, for being fair. He played better against the Bills. I don't know what Pittsburgh game. He got luck. There's a reason why Pittsburgh kept throwing in his direction. They're like, that kid can't do anything right now. So
they were such dumb. Yeah, I know. They were dumb. Like, you just wanted to grab someone's helmet.
I mean,
I wanted to yank his head around a few times. Look for the ball, please.
I mean, Greedy's got to start playing better.
Beyond that, Njoku has not practiced yet. I guess he wasn't back today, although the cast is off his hand. And I still think he is planning on playing this Sunday. I wouldn't. What's that?
Not been activated, though.
Right. So I don't know how that's going to work out. And then Olivier Vernon still also not playing.
Doesn't sound like he's going to be around this week. Sounds like it's going to be another week without Vernon. And I'll be fair, Vernon hasn't played that well anyway. So, I mean, at this point, maybe you see some of the younger kids play. I'm not as bent out of shape about Vernon as I thought I would be. I just have not seen anything that really wow. Look, they obviously need bodies at this point. I think the bigger thing is Burnett and Murray. The Browns now are real because this team plays a lot with their secondary.
And Burnett's still hurt, right?
Burnett's gone for the year.
Yeah, that's right. He jacked his leg up, right?
Yeah, Achilles. He's gone for the year. So I mean, look, the Browns really have to make. And again, I'm joking about it, but I'm being serious. It would have been nice to have Avery running around the field making plays along with some of these other guys. Because you're really putting now in the ground. If you're going to run the Wilkes defense, you are going to be putting guys out there who don't have experience, who aren't starters, who aren't out there playing a majority of these plays. And you already have a defensive line that has been playing disappointing, not to our expectations. Myles Garrett's gone. Ogunjobi's probably gone. I doubt that gets turned back. So now you're coming with 2 new defensive ends. Olivier Vernon's probably out. So this whole defense, hey, look, thank God they're playing the Dolphins. Thank God. But
you say thank God now.
But they're still going to score points.
The Dolphins can win. The Dolphins can win.
They have been better coached this year than what we've seen from Freddie Kitchens.
There's that word again.
Am I wrong?
Coached.
Am I wrong?
No, you're right.
The Dolphins have done a nice job. But their team is Dolphins have a bunch of crap. I watched part of that Bills game, and it's like
the Dolphins could have been the Bengals, and they chose not to be.
By the way, Raiders took a snooze button this week against Cincinnati. I got away with it, but I've made my picks. By the way, I have no fucking clue what's going on in football. Don't even ask. My picks are terrible. Fucking terrible. I even watched a betting show, said I need help making picks. I took a week off the block. I picked the games this week. They're fucking so
Could you
I have no.
I never saw a blowout in Baltimore coming.
The Ravens are the best team in the AFC right now.
It is driving me up a fucking wall.
They're much better than Browns. Ravens are doing laps around this organization. I love the Browns. Love them. Ravens are doing laps around us. Yeah. Laps. And you know what? Maybe Lamar Jackson doesn't play more than 6-7 years. But I'll tell you what, right now, he is the favorite to win the MVP of the league. And I have to agree.
I don't know how you wouldn't. As much as I want to say the kid can't throw the ball, man, I'm eating my words.
Matter. He is
eating my words. Well, I'm saying he can't. He has. I think he's throwing it like a 60% plus completion.
No, he's doing well on that. He's doing well. But again, like there are things that you and I see, that Tony Grossi sees, that everybody sees. Where it's like, God, this has got to like. But I will give this kid this right now. And I saw this in college, and you're seeing it now in the pros. And being fair, that's great. He smells blood with his legs. He is gone.
Yeah.
Michael Vick could run Lamar Jackson sprints. That kid is gone in zero. He is faster than anybody else I've ever seen play that position. And he plays strong, and he plays confidently with his legs. Jared, I got to admit, his legs and the way he runs is on a different level than I've seen so far. Randall Cunningham, Michael Vick, all good runners. John Elway, Steve Young, Russell Wilson, all good scramblers. They could all do that stuff. Lamar Jackson has a gear and is just gone. Gone.
I don't know what. I mean, I'm going to have to go back and rewatch the Browns Ravens game to see if there's. I mean, I don't understand how the Browns seem to be the only team that were able to figure it out against them.
That proves everything.
And we're including the Patriots in this conversation.
And that proves everything about the NFL season being so wonky and weird. Is the Browns have had a hard time stopping the run all year. And in that game, they had a hard time stopping the run. But a fumble by our friend Joe Schobert, who made the big hit on Ingram, turned that game around. And then once they got up 2 scores, the Ravens, for whatever goddamn reason, went away from the run. And a good example is, and they are that way. That is the way to beating the Ravens. If you stop them from running and you make them pass like a Navy or these college football teams, it will eventually catch up to them. And not only will they lose, they'll lose big. And that's what happened in the Browns-Ravens game. That Ingram fumble changed the game. The Browns actually, for the first time, that is the only game, and I'll give Freddie credit. That was the game that was all Freddie. Freddie should take credit for that win. That was a great job. They had that team ready. They were rocking and rolling. Team scored 40 points. Offense was banging on all cylinders. That is what they need to start doing every game, because that defense is going to give up some points now. They're going to start giving up some points. They got to get ready. They got to start hitting things better. The other thing, too, I hate to do this, but we got to go back to Myles Garrett for one more thing. One other thing that I do like about what I saw from the post on Friday especially was that Myles Garrett gave a heartfelt speech, and that you can tell it's galvanizing the team already. Now, will that translate to wins or losses? We'll see. But I do like Joe Bitonio's comments on Friday, saying it was an emotional time. Things are being said. Calmer heads will prevail. We are a family. I have not heard comments like that from this team all year. It's finally good to hear it and feel it.
And I've thought about that same thing. And this was the hope that I had out of this, is that to this point, it's been a lot of lip service when Freddie talks about the adversity and then coming together closer as a team. And that's what we got to do is, get close. Like, it's all been lip service till now.
Yes.
And now I feel like I was going to say, I mean, we're almost at the point where we say literal shit has hit the fan. The proverbial shit has hit the fan. Here they are. The only thing is, even though they're here at this point, I don't know that that's enough. Not with the injuries that they're facing, not only on defense but also waiting on Njoku and not having around a Callaway or a Higgins. I feel like this, if that does happen with this team, great. But you know what? We're 8 games too late, right? Or we're 10 games too late for this.
Well, go back to your Seattle. Go back to your Rams.
Yes.
Go back to your Broncos. Those are all winnable games. The Browns pissed all those opportunities away. They did. Titans out. I don't know what happened game 1.
You just named four games that should have been wins. The Browns should.
Well,
they should. That could be. They could have 8 wins easily themselves now.
Right.
In that just.
Well, here's the thing though. The Ravens did take advantage of these games. The Browns didn't. So that's why we are where we are. By the way, I agree with you, and I echoed that at the beginning too. I think this is a good opportunity for this team. I think this team really is, which is good for this game by game. Don't look ahead. Don't look too far down the road until a loss happens. I think once a loss happens, I think it could be a little bit more sticky and it could go downhill. But right now, beat the Dolphins. Get prepared, beat the Steelers, and then game at a time. And by the way, the Browns are actually talking like a team is starting to think that way.
Well, they have been, 1-0. All they've been saying for the past 3 weeks, or 2.5 weeks now, 1-0.
2 days, though, I've really been feeling it. Like, it's one thing to say it. I can feel it now. It's like, oh, you got okay, good.
Well, fake it till you make it.
No, that's true too. Okay, some things in the game. Schober played a great game. He deserved. He got a lot of accolades after the game. Ward also played great. He is back. He is. We've been saying that for a while now, but he is back.
I do want to jump in and reference Joe Schobert really quickly. Word is that his agent is working with the team in trying to get that extended contract and sign him here for long term, but he's not really involving himself, and he's only worried about winning football games right now. So his agent is working to get him signed. I know there's a lot of Browns fans out there that want him, for a 3 or 4 year deal. We'll see how that plays out. I'm guessing maybe a 3 year for some decent money. We'll see how it plays out.
We talked about the play calling. It was really bad in this game. I thought Mayfield played great in the first quarter. I thought after that it was herky-jerky. I thought he had some moments where he'd look bad again. I didn't think he played great in this game. I didn't think he played good. I thought he played okay. I did enough to win. I still think he struggled. But I thought in this game it was more of a reflection of the play calling really hurting Baker. I thought he just was really not set up to do well in this game. And where's the dynamic? I want to see more Chubb and in the backfield together. I did not see it enough in this game. Very rarely. I need more of it. More of it, Jared. I want to see it almost. I just want to see it more.
We've said it, Andy. They need to. Everything should be based out of that.
Yes.
Out of that formation with both of them in the back.
It's like, again, stubbornness, and we'll see. The team's had a hard time.
I didn't like the quarterback sneak for the touchdown.
I didn't either. Rudolph really struggled in this game. He really stinks. And so, I think it's actually
terrible. He's terrible, and I can't believe that they were able to win the games that they won with him.
He stinks. And they took away the running game in that game. Kudos to Chubb. He had 1,000 yards already. He is on his way to a Pro Bowl. He is really playing well. I think people forgot about that in the game. Chubb is a monster.
First one to have 1,010 games since you know who, the one and only Jim Brown.
He is the best player in the Browns. Am I wrong? I think Nick Chubb's the best player in the Browns.
Nick Chubb is the best player on the Browns. You are correct.
Browns did have for the first time, had some real ips in special teams. They had coverages. Cyber can't kick in the dog pound section. People can make of that what they will. But he had a really hard time kicking over in that direction during the game. The Browns, those special teams, finally for the first time really struggled. It almost got them in trouble. They got out of it. They won the game, but special teams was sloppy. Boy, it just was they had a hard time in this game. Penalties were back, by the way.
Hilliard have to be back there.
He
had no awareness. He had no awareness of where he was.
Stinks. Again, there's two people, Ratley and Hilliard. Take care. Nothing against you. I'm sure you're good people. You're not good enough to play on this team. I do not understand. Why the fuck would you cut Duke Johnson and trade him for a third-round pick to keep around Hilliard? And then okay, all right. Riley's not playing anymore, so that's good. We're playing Hodge over Higgins. Higgins must have done something really bad because Hodge is that.
I heard he threw a bowl of soup at Coach Freddie.
Okay, well, that would do it. That would do it. Wasn't that the Cavs? I think it was the Cavs thing. The other thing, too, that I am going to not do a huge rant on, because we've already ranted enough today, are we good with screen passes and bubble screens?
Bro, I don't need anything behind the line of scrimmage.
Are we good? Are we good? Are we good? How many fucking times with a team with speed do we need to throw the ball 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage and watch it get tackled for a 2-yard loss?
I don't know.
How many fucking times?
I don't know.
How many fucking times?
I don't know.
Tired of that shit.
I don't know.
That
I don't understand the thought process behind it.
They're not good at screen passes. Browns are good at screen passes. They are not good at it. Stink. We, as Browns, stink. I don't play for the team, but you know what I mean. Browns stink at screen passes. They stink. God, they're awful. How many? God, I'll go. I every time. It's like
you literally said you weren't going to rant, and here we are.
Anyways, I do not, just to make sure I'm clear, I do not care for screen passes. Okay. I think we talked about the impact of this game. We'll have to see where they go. Okay, quick thing on the Dolphins. They also stink, as we're talking about stink. They are not good. They definitely flushed the toilet on this year. I think you can guess where I'm going. I don't think there's any chance the Dolphins win this game. Even with everything that went on, I think the Browns will be okay. I think they'll get through this game. I don't know if it's going to be – they'll win by 10. I think the line's 10.5. I think that's right. The Browns win by 10. They do what they need to do, and they get out of town with the win. Maybe they blow them out.
Listen, honestly, the only thing I don't know. I have got nothing. I got to see it. I got to see what they do after this shit show with Pittsburgh. I got to see what they do. Andy, I can't make that judgment. I can't sit there and say, oh yeah, the Browns they'll be able to handle it. I don't know. I don't know that they've got that much, that they're emotionally mature enough as a team to pull it together I think they want to. I don't know that they have the emotional maturity to do it.
They are certainly playing the act of theater that they're ready to do it. Now it's time to perform. You're right. And by the way, you are right. This is all theater. Let's see what happens on Sunday. Sunday.
Hey, I love a good movie, brother.
So
let's go.
Let's go. The only other thing I got was I was going to bring up the Ravens. The only other thing I got, and it is going to really, it should just be brought up one more time. Then we'll get to the Cavs. We're also stinking. The one thing that's nice for the Browns, Dolphins, Bengals twice. The other 3 games are up for grabs. It's a long shot. They have to win out. But if there were ever a chance it breaks down right for this team because they needed to get off to a good start against the Dolphins. Then they play that impossible game against the Steelers. If they could ever get by the Steelers, Jared, I love the fact that it goes Bengals, Cardinals, Ravens, Bengals. It's not impossible. I think it's going to be very hard, but I don't think it's impossible.
It's not impossible. I also got to look at the schedule because I think 9-7 might be in play more now than I expected it to be.
They really need
and I mean that as 9-7 could carry. I gotta look.
Well, the Titans need to start losing. It was good the Broncos lost to the Vikings. That was a good loss. The Browns need the Colts to lose some more games. I will say this, and I hate admitting this. I don't think there's any chance they catch the Ravens. I think it's down to 2-5. No. Wild card, brother.
Yeah, wild card only. There's nothing else. It's wild card.
I heard a couple people today say it's better for them to win division. I'm like, boy, what division? I don't.
But you're looking at right now. I mean, you're looking at Raiders, Steelers, Titans, Browns,
Colts.
Where are the Colts in this?
Are they in first?
They're a third seed. Yeah.
Well, I think it's all right there for them. I think all those teams.
I apologize. Let me look at this. So in the AFC right now, for the wild card, it's going to be Texans, Colts, Bills, and Chiefs. No, you know what? It's going to take 10 wins. It's going to take 10 wins, and son of a bitch, there's a possibility it could take 11 wins. Well, I don't know how normal that is.
Well, sadly, it's not possible to go back in time and take a loss away and give a team 11 victories. The best the Browns can do is 10.
Well, all I'm saying is 10 might not cut it.
Well, I think it will.
10 might not cut it. I mean, you're looking at the Texans. The Texans have. I want to go through this. Who they even have out? Why is this not showing me? Show me the damn. Well, all right. So the Texans play the Colts. So they're just going to swap with each other.
Right.
They also play the Patriots. Then they got the Broncos, the Titans, the Buccaneers, and the Titans. Dude,
all these
Texans. That's not a terrible schedule. That's like 2 losses there.
Well, Raiders play the Chiefs twice. Unless they only played them once. I just think all these teams are going to start playing each other more. Look, we're not to the schedule game yet. Browns need to beat the Dolphins.
Yeah, I mean, there's a possibility of a lot of split skis here with a lot of these remaining games. There's a lot of division games that are coming up for these teams that are going to be important.
Yeah. The Texans, Colts, and Titans are all going to be coming up. And you just hope that the Raiders start shitting the bed and be shitty as we thought they would be. And then really you're fine. And then you got the Bills. But we got the tiebreaker against the Bills. And they played their games against the Dolphins. They're done with the Dolphins. They hate to play the Jets one more time. They stink. But God, what a crappy division. God. Hopefully the Patriots just stomp on the Bills.
Well, we talk about the wild card. I mean,
the Bills.
Yeah, because 2 of these teams are division leaders.
Mm-hmm.
So the Bills are division leader.
No,
the Raiders.
Pats are.
No, where am I at? I'm sorry. Pats, Ravens, Colts, Chiefs. Jeez.
Mm-hmm. So you got Titans, Texans, Raiders, Bills, Browns. Those are your 5. Steelers stink. They're not getting in. Eat that shit, Steeler fans. So you got 6. 6 teams. You want to count the Steelers.
Well, that's funny. The Bills are 7-3, and
they play the Jets, so they're going to get.
They're a pretender. They're a pretender, and they're going to get in.
Well, but again, it's a long haul to the end. Okay, it's a long haul to the end. Let's just play a game at a time. Let's not get all depressed.
Look at me. I got
Why don't you rub your cap and laugh? Okay, everything's gonna be just.
For those
fine.
of you who can't see it, podcast, it says "laugh a lot." This is actually a hat that was sold at Kmart, a series, and proceeds were sent to benefit St. Jude's. I love these hats, brother. Love them.
So all right, I think we're good with the Browns.
I'm over it. I'm done.
We did a full hour.
It was a brown out.
Did I bring up screen passes? Okay, let's go now. to your we're still positive, but the Cleveland Cavs.
Cleveland Cavaliers.
I hate to say I told you so, but about a week ago I said, they have a tough 2-week stretch of games, and it starts at Philly, and here we are a week later.
We were talking about 8 seed.
And maybe 8th in the lottery. Right now they have 0-4. Here are the things. We're not gonna break down these games, but here's the things. Love is out with back soreness. Nothing serious, but he's gonna be out with back soreness. Larry Nance is out with a thumb injury. I guess he injured it before the Thursday game, but he injured it against the Heat game. He's out. And for people who forget, Henson's also out. So the Browns, the Cavs are very, very small. That is the big thing I've taken out of these last games. I've watched a lot of it. The Cavs have to draft size next year. They need big dudes. This is not a big team. And it's starting to take their toll on this team. And I'm telling you, I know people are like, oh, you should trade Love, trade Tristan. Hey, that's cool. Cavs are going to be really small the more you keep doing this stuff. It's cool that you want to make, again, draft picks. Woohoo. And I can't see, this is where I'm more on the, hey, I get it. You're rebuilding. So I'm not going to, it's not Duke Johnson on a team that's going to go to the playoffs. Okay. Not insane. I understand if you want to trade these guys, but if you trade them, it's going to be, it's going to be bad. The other thing too,
we saw it tonight.
Yeah.
Kevin Love out. They defensively, they just couldn't even, they didn't even bother.
Well,
they didn't show up.
For the first time, they had a real lack of effort off of back-to-back. They play, starting on Sunday, they play 5 games in 7 days. 2 back-to-backs, Sunday, Monday, and then Thursday, Friday, I believe. So it is Friday, Saturday. So they just did their back-to-back tonight. They take a breath, then they go to Miami. And then they play a back-to-back. Oh, by the way, who they play on a back-to-back? Blazers and Mavericks. Ooh. So this is dicey. But so they're in the middle of the stretch. They just need to get through it. The Cavs have not been turning over the ball. They had a terrible night tonight turning the ball over. They just turned over the ball left and right. Do not get fixated on Sexton or Garland. They're being overly focused on because Love is out. These other guys are out. This size thing is playing a big factor in how they're playing. I'm just telling you. And the other thing that's really shown up on this team, which is not new news, the injuries have shown the lack of depth on the Cavs. Zizic isn't going to be here much longer.
I mean, and I brought that up. I said, what's their rotation act? 5, 6, 7, 6, 7. Like, it's just they don't have any depth, and without that depth and the minutes that these guys are playing, it just becomes painfully obvious when somebody does get hurt. After Kevin Love, thank God he's all right after that fall.
Well, yeah, and Nance is going to be back too. I mean, thank God he's not out for weeks because John Henson's not a big player in his team, honestly, but he's a big injury because they don't have depth and size at that position. So the Cavs, they showed good. The Philadelphia game on Tuesday was a wonderful game. I know they lost by 1, but they really played well in that game. And I guess that really pissed off the NBA because then the Heat and the Sixers and the Knicks coming out said, we're going to take them seriously. And they're now playing too. The Cavs play hard. They do a nice job. This team is fun to watch still, but right now this is hard to watch if we're being honest because they've been getting blown out the way they have been. Again, the one thing I just want to caution, it's fun to start making trades, and I understand that in this team is they are rebuilding. This is not about 2020. We know that. But just be wise. Like you start trading players like that, you are going to see a big jump down in what's going on in these games. Because right now, all the emphasis, as I would be as a coach, would be like, you should stop Garland and you should stop Sexton. Because if you stop those two, I don't know what else they do. Porter is going to get a big, big, big splash of water because he started tonight. I think that's going to be good for his career, but it's going to be hard to watch because he's playing good teams. And that's the other thing, too. Aside from the Knicks, the Cavs are playing very good teams right now. A lot of Heat, a lot of Sixers, a lot of, again, the Mavericks and Dallas and then Blazers. My gosh, how does they?
Yeah, they're getting run through the ringer, and that's just, hey,
it happens.
Welcome to the NBA.
It happens.
Here they are. There's no time listen, we'll see how Beeline keeps them together through this stretch.
I agree. So far, so good. they lacked hustle. They didn't lack trying or effort. They were just tired.
Yeah.
It was like a team that's very, very gassed tonight. So again, the other thing too, and tonight actually they shot the ball better in the first half. Second half they struggled, but the first half they did. They've got to make more buckets, and this team misses a lot of layups. I know that was brought up by Austin Carr, and I forget the new guy's name who does the Cavs games, and I agree. It's like the Cavs do miss a lot of layups.
Tristan airballed a free throw too tonight.
Yeah, yes. The Cavs had a disease tonight in the free throw line. Porter missed free throws. Garland missed. It was one of those nights. It was one of those nights. So, anyways, better days to come for the Cavs, but this is going to be a tough stretch. And again, I believe it's a triple check, but I believe it's Miami. Then I know it's Dallas at Dallas, and then back at home against Portland. That's pretty tough. All right, so that's the Cavs. More to come on that. And let's wrap it up to college football. We have not done a podcast since this. Chase Young will be back for the Penn State and Michigan game. That's good news for everybody out there who's a Buckeye fan like our Jared Watson here. Big game against Penn State this week. I think the Buckeyes now are really going to be look, it's Captain Obvious, but needs to be said. The sexiest team this year has been Ohio State. They've looked great. Flex their muscles against Rutgers. Hey, you beat Maryland by a lot. Now
I didn't even watch the Rutgers.
Didn't need to. Didn't
even turn it on. Spend time with the family. Didn't even watch it.
I believe they put a 3 and a 5 on as a team march on the field. These next 3 games, though, and especially if it's Minnesota at the end. I would, as a football fan, I want to see Minnesota Ohio State.
So do I,
because I think that's going to be a fun game. I think Ohio State's going to win.
And you know what? And it's not Wisconsin. It's not Sparty. It's not Penn State.
No, that coach Flex got some edge.
This is the Big Ten getting to show off a team that doesn't always get into this position.
They played hard against Iowa. They had a chance to win. They just threw a pick late. Here's my one word of caution, and if everybody who listened to this podcast last year, you know where I'm going with this, but I'm going to tee it up a little bit differently. So Michigan is coming in 2 weeks, and Ann Arbor. Be fun. Michigan, Ohio State. Love that rivalry. Get the feeling for the first time, Michigan's playing better as the season's gone on. Okay. They really cleaned the clocks out of Michigan State, swept the floors, all that shit. Do I think Michigan's going to beat Ohio State? No. But for the first time, I know as a sports guy, I'm like, they're playing Penn State, and then they have to go back-to-back and play Michigan. That game's going to be a little more dicey. I still think Ohio State will be fine. They'll be doing a cakewalk by the end of the fourth, winning by 10 points. But I don't think it's going to be 20. I think it's going to be 10. I think it's going to be a little closer. You're
talking about this week, or are you talking about team
next week? I think Michigan's their team name. I think Michigan's going to give Ohio State a game. I don't think they're going to win, but I think they're going to give them a game.
Okay.
I do. But cool. Harbaugh needs to win that game. You know my stance.
Andy,
we'll go to that next week.
Here's the deal. First of all, the NCAA pulled their heads out of their asses and are putting Chase Young back on the football field where he belongs after completely fucking him over in regard to his Heisman Trophy chances.
That's gone. Joe Burrow is running to New York.
Cool. Fine. Got it. Noted.
Mr. Ohio.
What? Bulletin board material. Fine by me.
Mr. Ohio.
Let's see how Chase Young balls out. Hey, and you know what? I like Burrow. I really do. I like Joe Burrow. I really have a feeling that these Buckeyes are going to be meeting up with Joe Burrow pretty soon. I do too. What we're looking at a month and a half. So that's a real possibility. But to think that Penn State or that team up north is going to come close. I think the spread right now for this coming Saturday is like 18 points. I think
Penn State's going to. I think
they're 18-point dogs, and I think the Buckeyes will cover in the first half.
I think playing games like this back to back though are not easy either.
Okay.
And I do think it's going to be challenging for this team, and it's good to see for the Buckeyes. I want to see them get challenged, and this will be good for their playoff run. No, I'm not joking. I think this will be good for Ohio State's playoff.
I know
run because I'm
laughing because I'm never this confident in a Buckeyes team.
No. They've played. They've had a cakewalk. Their toughest game is Cincinnati. I mean, they haven't really played much. I mean, I thought the Huskers were good. They stink. The Badgers, they did what they always do. They're overrated. So, these are the next 3 games. And do I think Penn State's going to beat them? No. I don't disagree with Jared. I think Ohio State wins by 20 plus against Penn State. I do think Michigan's going to be more challenging than what I thought 3 weeks ago. Not going to be easy.
We'll see how Coach Day has them.
And then in Minnesota,
I'm just so used to seeing hints of a breakdown.
I hear you
somewhere, and I just don't.
Oh no, but Jared,
anywhere.
Jared, I think they're going to win these next 3 games. I just think they're going to start getting challenged for the first time. They are going to get challenged in one of these games.
Okay. Yeah, they might.
Oh, they're going to get challenged. Michigan's going to challenge them.
Challenge accepted.
They're not going to win. They're not going to win. But they're going to get challenged. Michigan's playing really well. Harbaugh's doing a nice job. He's doing a nice job.
Sure.
By the way, if the Browns job's open, would you take Jimmy? Nope. I would.
Nope.
Oh my gosh, you're so.
Nope. I'd take Urban. And
I would take Urban too. I would take Jimy though.
Not an Urban fan. Anyone who's listening to this show knows I'm not a big Urban fan, but I'd take Urban.
I've not talked about my Irish. They did roll up on Navy. It was fun to see. Navy gets chippy with Notre Dame all of a sudden, so it was nice to wipe the shit out of the midshipmen and take them on their way and put them in their proper place.
Easy. Those are tomorrow's leaders of your United States.
And they are. Hey, I respect the Navy, just not on the football field. Go on your way and see you next year. And then they play Boston College and they go play Stanford after that. Irish are playing better. It's again, I've said it since the top of the year and everything's playing out the way I thought it would. Playing at Georgia, playing at Michigan was too much for that squad. And then the Purdue played the Fighting Buys, and they play the Badgers this week, but no one cares about that. The other big thing this week was, the big thing was Tua. The other thing, though, that was interesting from all this shaking out is, people again, people got to remember sports is about playing and it's about playing hard and trying your best on the field and doing what you think is, whatever, just making a team effort here to win games, whatever else. And it's become more individualized as it should be because of people's careers and professions and making money. And I sympathize with that because I never had a hundredth of that ability. So to even have that ability to have that opportunity, I feel for Tua. All that to be said, I think Tua playing in the end of the first half is not a bad thing. He was just trying. They were just trying to get some things done. We are behind the scenes. It reminds me of Kevin Durant. I just think at times like we make judgments like why is he in the game, and it's like, well, I get it. He has a high ankle sprain, but we just didn't know.
The good news is the surgery went well, and from all we can see after post surgery for Tua, he's mentally seems to be in a good place.
Good kid.
So that's good
really,
to see.
really good kid.
And then on top of that, Andy, the comparisons to Bo Jackson's injury all those years ago regarding the hip that I guess usually gets left out in this conversation, or has at least to this point, is that Bo played on that hip and should not have, and really wrecked himself before he actually tried to take care of it. And this is different for Tua. It's not the same injury, and it's hopefully not going to affect him in the same way that it did.
He's a good kid. So, it's good for college.
We'll see Tua come back from this. And,
we will.
And you know what? I saw somebody make the joke that he's going to fall to the end of the first round, and the Patriots are going to draft him.
Well, look, okay. Well, that's for a different podcast. I mean, that's whatever.
I laugh when I see that stuff.
Well, those are the same people celebrating Duke Johnson's third round draft pick coming to the Browns. I mean, look. I like when Alabama's good. I like when Oklahoma's good. I like when USC are good. I believe in college football. It's fun when those teams are winning, okay? Alabama's had a long run, and Saban's done a lot of things. I felt really – we all did. Tua's a good kid, and he loves the game of football, and he clearly loves playing for Alabama. You just feel for the young man. I just think it's hard sometimes people try to make judgments on what's right for him or whatnot. We're not there. We're not part of Tua's life. We're not part of that team. So, I would just stay out of that stuff. I think at times people make too many judgments where we're not there. We don't know if he wanted to play or not. Maybe he did know. I don't know. But you just feel for him. That sucks it happened. It just sucks. You don't want to see that kind of stuff. That's what it comes down to. Because I have seen other players in other sports playing injuries like that and have great performances, and they get remembered forever. So it's really hard to see something like that. The other thing, too, real fast, it looks like it's going to be Georgia, LSU, State and Clemson. We'll have to see if those teams hold up. Again, Bama's kind of in there, around there as well. And then the other thing fast about college football, you kind of teed it up. LSU, Ohio State, but don't sleep on Clemson. And all that to be said, wonderful ending to the college football playoff, because I think for the first time, you have teams that are very unequal playing. I think you can make an argument for Clemson. I think you can make an argument for LSU and Ohio State. Even though it's crazy to say, I thought Georgia played a hell of a game against Auburn too. So I don't think it's crazy to argue Georgia as well.
It's been a really emotionally draining past 4 days, 5 days, 4 days. And I'm glad that we finally were able to get this show in. Because we talked a lot about some really tough stuff regarding moving forward with this Cleveland Browns team tonight. And man, it's again, it's going to take some time for me to make some judgments. But all I can do is wait it out and see how this team does against Miami. And also we got to recognize that trying to deflate some of the anticipation for that Steelers game, the NFL has bumped that game up from a 4:25 to a 1:00 start. I don't remember if we mentioned that or not, but here we are. So Andy and Jared.
Good news about that. Not to interrupt, but I will interrupt.
Yeah,
that decision was already being made before the kickoff of the Steelers-Browns game, meaning the teams were alerted on Wednesday night that they were looking at the possibility of moving up Chiefs-Raiders. So for people who are out there who are conspiracy theorists, it actually was already being discussed before Thursday night game, because the Raiders are playing better and the Chiefs are the Chiefs. And honestly, if you're looking at record base, and I think the Chiefs are still winning right now, if you look at record base, it actually makes sense that they're doing that. And as a fan, as a father of kids, I much prefer the 1:00 game. So
I think I do, even if the Browns are doing good.
Yeah, I have no problem playing 1:00. In fact, I kind of miss the 1:00. I like the 1:00 starts.
Shoot us an email, andyandjared@gmail.com. andyandjared@gmail.com. Don't forget Jared is spelled Jarid. Also, follow us up on Twitter. That's @CLE and Beyond, @CLE and Beyond. Listen to the podcast anywhere podcasts are available. Check them out. Google Play, Stitcher, iTunes, right there for you. Also, ask your Alexa device. We are brought to you by Waiting for Next Year. Check them out. Original Cleveland sports reporting at waitingfornextyear.com. He's Andy Billman. I'm Jared Watson. Andy and Jared, Cleveland and beyond. This too shall pass. Take care. Talk again soon.